Welcome to week 4 in science. This is TWIS, This Week in Science. So let's catch everyone up. So last week we were on igneous rocks. So that was the ones that come from magma and lava from under the earth, the original rocks that the earth had. And you learnt all about how these rocks can cool, how they have interlocking crystals, and you also investigated the idea that depending on where they cooled, they would actually have different size crystals depending on how long they had to grow before they became solid. So that then led us into this prac of fast and slow cooling crystals, and you actually had to analyze the data on this prac and write up a short report. That report was in Google Classroom, but you were asked here in the news to take this picture here and copy and paste it into your own Google Doc and update it and before you actually finished your report. You weren't going to use your own data because we've got people all over the place this year, but you're going to use this data instead to write your report. Now, it's really important that you do put this data in because we have here an analysis of the mean, the mode, and the median of these crystals here. So not everyone had fantastic data in this prac. And not only do we want you to look for the trends in this data, but we want you to analyze what quality of data these people had, whether there was a lot of error, whether you can draw a reliable conclusion from this data by looking at the mean, the mode, and the median. And if you remember from term 1, we practiced that when we were analysing our machine pracs. So take that picture, if you haven't done already, insert it into your Google Doc, and you need to complete that Google Doc and submit it to your teacher on Google Classroom. For this week, we are into week 4 now. So week 4 is quite simple. We actually don't even need a pre-test this week. Our learning goals for this week are to understand how the physical and chemical processes basically that are breaking down the rocks around us, and to be able to try and infer what sort of weathering conditions were around when we see rocks with certain types of damage. So if I show you a rock that's got a tree growing through it, what type of weathering does that mean? Here's some pictures. I've got copious pictures from all of our previous excursions and stuff of different types of weathering of rocks on the Glasshouse Mountains. If I showed you pictures like this one or this one here, can you tell me what types of weathering, whether it's physical or chemical weathering, is going on here to break this rock down? When I show you rocks with these great big lines cleaved in them, what type of weathering do you think, physical or chemical, do you think is breaking that rock down? By the end of this week, I want you to be able to start to identify that in the Glasshouse Mountains. So your job for this week is this. You're going to be doing a series of lessons that just takes you through different types of physical and chemical weathering. There are 2 types. You need to remember that weathering is breaking down a rock. Okay, that's exactly what weathering is, breaking down a rock. It can be done physically or chemically. You need to be able to identify the different types of weathering. That's in your Education Perfect lessons. And by the end of this week, if you're really starting to get this, you should be able to look at different pictures and try and tell me, or at least have an educated guess as to what type of weathering is going on there. That will be questions that you'll be presented with as we test you for next week's homework. In the meantime, you have to click on this link and go to your Education Perfect lessons, and there's a series of lessons there that you're going to be completing, including some little virtual pracs that we've also set up. And I'm going to get you to upload evidence of this week's homework completed in Education Perfect. In other words, I'm going to get you to send us a picture of your dashboard, because last week you were all asked to do a post-quiz that set you up for week 4 homework. It was either a basic quiz or an extension quiz. When you did that post-quiz, it would have assigned you recommendations for week 4 homework. Everyone must submit screenshots of that homework there so we can start to get an idea of who is actually following through on that and completing that in time. So that's essentially what we're doing. I'm going to flip over to Ed Perfect here so you can see what it looks like. Here are the week 4 lessons in Education Perfect. Now at the very top here, I've got a little quiz here to just try and gauge people's understandings of igneous rocks so far. That's a very short little quiz there, one question, but you need to complete it. Then you have these lessons on weathering, physical weathering with a little bit of a virtual demo and stuff in there. Looking at the results of that prac after you've given me some educated guesses in the pre-lab. A virtual chemical weathering prac. And last but not least, Australian landforms and how they've been formed by volcanism and chemical weathering. That's to try and actually help you to see how this information that we're learning about is applied in the context of Australian landforms that we know quite well today. So they're the 6 lessons that you need to complete, and then you will need to go and complete again another pre-quiz for week 5 homework. So that's week 4 in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please let us know and we will get onto it for you. Thank you. I almost forgot. Okay, if you go down on your page, you should see these different links to folders in our Gateway page here. These ones here are for things that are going to stick around for like the whole year. But these are Term 2 student links. Now, especially for the kids at home, I would really like some video or some photos of what you're doing, especially with the little pracs and demos that I've been sending you. Today, my class in grade 8, we're going to have them actually having a competition to see who can actually weather sugar cubes the fastest. So any of those things that you video or take photographs of, what I'd like you to do is click this link here and upload those pictures or video to here. This is a media share box. Not all of them get posted, but if you click and put them up in there, then those ones I can actually pick and choose from those to actually add them into our image slideshows here so that we can actually show everyone what's happening with people and not just what's happening in my kitchen. Okay, so please share some funny videos and images there. The funnier the merrier, the happier I'll be. Okay, and also remember, we have links to our Quizlet folder here for practice. And if you need to join the Quizlet class here so that you can actually be looking at the leaderboard. So that is week 4 in a nutshell. We will be back to you at the end of this week or early next week with feedback on your fast and cool slowing crystals experiment. In the meantime, off we go.